high school student discovers a mysterious notebook that has the power to kill anyone whose name is written in its pages and begins a secret mission to rid the world of criminals. That's why today on the Summarizer, Death Note. This is the story of a student named Light, who is the classic smart kid who does his friend's homework for money. And it's also the story of Mia, the classic cheerleader who likes Light. And if a pretty girl likes a smart guy, it's for one reason only, and that's because Mia is crazy as shit. But we'll learn more about that later. At one point, a storm breaks out and the Death Note falls from the sky. Light grabs it and everyone goes running, until they run into some bullies. And trying to look good in front of the girl, he defends her and they end up beating him up. And when he wakes up, the principal finds out that he was doing the homework of 15 other students, and instead of caring that some bullies just beat him up, he gives him a detention for 2 weeks. And when he comes across her again, she's with her boyfriend.
That bitch!
Anyway, not everything is that bad in Light's life. Well, actually it is, because we also find out that his mother was murdered a short time ago. Anyway, in detention, he starts reading the Death Note, where there are a couple of rules. Rule 1, the human whose name is written in this note shall die. Rule 2, this note will not take effect unless the writer has the person's face in their mind when writing his or her name. And then there are a bunch more rules which he obviously doesn't read. At one point, all the lights go out and a monster named Ryuk appears, and our character does nothing but freak out and run, but mostly screams in a rather effeminate way. On top of that, the whole classroom is destroyed, and how is he going to explain this to the teacher?
No idea.
At first, he thinks it's a dream, but the monster reappears and he starts talking to him. There, Ryuk shows him the bullies bothering a girl and suggests to him to write Kenny's name and see what happens. So he writes down the bully's name, the way he's gonna die, and this happens. And after that, he tells him that if at some point he thinks he can't do it anymore, he should leave the book just 7 days somewhere, and he's gonna take care of finding it a new home. At night, he returns home and we find out that his life is still a mess because they live next to the train, and on top of that, he gets on terribly with his dad because he's a policeman and Light is angry because Anthony Skomal, the guy who ran over and killed his mother, is still free. And he keeps meeting the demon, who, for now, doesn't do anything but eat apples. Ryuk appears again, Light asks him what he can do with the book, and the demon tells him that there are some limitations. For example, Rule 20 says that a subject can be influenced for no more than 2 days leading up to his death, or Rule 28 says that each death must be physically possible.
No shark attacks while someone's on the toilet.
After that, Light grabs the news of his mother's death, writes down the name of her murderer, and closes the Death Note. And that causes him to die by an accident with a knife. The next day, his father tells him the news, and everyone is super happy. At school, Light keeps reading the book while everyone is at PE, until at one point Mia appears. And although it's the first time they talk to each other in life, Light shows her the Death Note. Yes, although he didn't know her, and the girl might want to kill everyone, or I don't know, it seems a little irresponsible. The point is that he also wants to show Ryuk, but there we learn that only the owner of the book can see the demon. And to show her that the book is true, they watch in the news a kidnapper who conveniently for the plot is live on TV, and after writing his name in the notebook and the details of his death, he dies. Yeah, he just met a girl he likes, and the first thing he did was kill a kidnapper with a book. I don't know, invite her to a movie or a drink before, maybe? Anyway, it wasn't so bad, because with that, they realize they can make the world a better place. She falls in love, and the two of them go to his room.
Can I kiss you?
Where they live super happy, killing people chased by Interpol, like this Korean military man who's killed by electrocution. And from now on, he calls himself Kira, and on TV, they are looking for him by death row inmates in 6 different continents that were found dead in their cells with that message, of which only one of the dead can be seen, so we count that one alone. Oh, and they also make a terrorist leader commit suicide with a grenade. At one point, they also say that 5 members of the cartel threw themselves under a train, but it's not seen on camera, so we don't count that one either. And by this point, everyone loves Kira, and they think they are superheroes. One night, they find 2 mafias that were killed also because of Kira, and in total, in the 3 scenes, I managed to count 36 bodies. The important thing here is that this detective named L says that he gave Kira a clue so he can make all of them die. Since he accessed police databases, he included little-known criminals, and now it looks like he knows who to look for. Meanwhile, Light's father is investigating this whole murder thing, and he gets a call from someone telling him that he has a theory about Kira, and that's when the guy with the glasses shows up and introduces himself as Watari. This guy introduces him to L, who wants to help him in the investigation since he discovered that Kira is not in Japan as the FBI believes, but is in Seattle. Meanwhile, people create a website where they upload profiles of people to be killed by Kira, and although Mia is kind of crazy and wants to kill them all, Light realizes that they might be fake profiles.
What if somebody fucked your girlfriend and you put them on the list because you just want to kill them?
What would you do if some guy fucked me?
What?
The important thing is that L gets on the news. There he says that Kira is a person and a coward, and that they're gonna meet face to face in a very short time. Apparently, he did this to test his theory, since Kira can't kill unless he has a name and a face.
Well, good thing that worked.
Later, we learn that L put someone on Light, and Mia wants them to kill the agent who's following them, but he prefers to stop using the book so he doesn't get caught. So she gets angry and leaves the house. Oh, and for now, it's not clear why, but assistant director Pears dies of a heart attack. I guess it must have been Kira, and if not, we count it anyway. There, L calls Agent Franks to tell him the news, but he doesn't answer, and all this group of 8 agents start walking like zombies until they finally commit suicide. In the news, they say there were 12, but we only see 3, so we only count 3, okay? Apparently it wasn't our protagonist, because he's angry and says it was Ryuk, and when he goes to the house, he confirms that it was him, and says that if he's not willing to follow the rules of the book, he should let him give it to someone else. At one point, our protagonist's father again holds another press conference against Kira, and Mia wants to take his name down. Yeah, by this point, she's completely insane. Still, our protagonist doesn't let her kill his father, and on top of that, she leaves in a huff.
If you want out, then just get the fuck out!
At night, Light was reading a book about the Death Note demon when L appears to tell him that he already knows that he's Kira. But when Light starts asking him questions, he realizes that he has no idea about the existence of the demon and all that. So he basically tells him that he's gonna be put in jail for the 400 deaths that Kira produced and all that bullshit, but he doesn't arrest him. And Light goes back to his house where his girlfriend is, who I don't understand why the fuck she's still waiting for him out in the rain. There she apologizes for trying to kill his father, tells him she loves him, and they end up kissing. And as they now have the face of L, they start looking for his real name. For that, they write in the death note that Watari becomes obsessed with revealing the true identity of the detective known as L. For the next 40 hours, he will cease all communication with the outside world, except to update what he learns to a number. And finally, he says he will die, but in reality, his intention is not to kill him, because he reads that Rule 89 says that if the person who writes a name destroys its page prior to the death being carried out, the target will be spared. As soon as they finish reading that, they receive a call from Watari saying that he doesn't know the real name of L, and he took responsibility for him only after he left the St. Martin's orphanage in Montauk when he was one of the Rochester wards. And apparently the name is only in its records, so he forces Watari to go there and find it out. That same night, L shows up at Light's house to tell him that Watari left without telling him and asks where he is. And there come in a bunch of detectives to check all of Light's house. Meanwhile, Watari is still looking for the name of L, and we learn that Mia was the one who grabbed the death note so the cops wouldn't take it, and since they are now following him, she's gonna keep it. At night, they go to the prom, and when the time of Watari's death is about to happen, Light calls him, but as he didn't find anything, Light's gonna tear the sheet before he dies. But when he grabs the book, he realizes that Mia took that page. And when he's about to tell him the real name of L, some guys come in and kill him. When he returns to the dance, he starts dancing with the crazy bitch who says that she actually saved him or something that would clearly be said by a crazy bitch. And there we also learn that the one who killed all the agents of the Kira case was Mia.
Gentlemen, what we have here is a crazy bitch.
And if you still had any doubts that she's crazy, she wrote in the death note that Light's gonna die that midnight, and only if he officially gives the book to her, she'll tell him where it is so he can burn that page. After that, Elle finds out that his friend died and goes to look for Light, but Light's father sends the rest of the cops to look for Elle and take care of his son. Light manages to write down a bunch of names, which we don't know who they are, and after that, he escapes while Elle chases him. There is an endless chase where I don't know if you noticed, but they hit a lot of people without any need. So I'm going to open a counter of people hit without any argumental sense in the chase. until he finally catches up, but when he's explaining everything, Akira fan puts L to sleep. When they get to the attraction, there's Mia, and he tells her not to accept the book because otherwise they'll never be able to see each other again. And she tells him that she loves him but takes the book anyway. And that's when we find out that he put her name in the book, but only if she accepts it. And since she grabbed it, I guess now Mia's gonna die. And on top of that, she gets mad when she had also put him in the book. After that, the Wheel of Fortune starts to break and they both end up falling. She falls on some flowers and dies. And he falls into the water and just has the luck that the page catches fire. So I guess he survived, and the book is grabbed by another guy passing by. Apparently Light is in a coma, and the superiors start asking L how it's possible that it was Light if there are 4 deaths in the last 48 hours when the supposed murderer's in a coma. Oh, and remember I told you that a guy had found the death note? Well, this guy takes it back to the hospital and he keeps it. At one point, his father appears, who realized that Kira was always his son since the murderer of his wife was really the first victim. There he asks him how it works, and he tells him that he wrote in the book that a guy is going to rescue him when he falls into the water, keep him in an induced coma for 2 days, and at the end of it, he leaps to his death from the roof of the hospital. Meanwhile, another guy was supposed to take the death note and write every night the names of the criminals that appeared in the news, and finally on day 2, he returns the book to its owner and commits suicide. Finally, Mia Sutton is killed when she accepts the death note from her boyfriend, and as the Ferris wheel collapses, she pulls the page with his name on it from the note and it's consumed by fire. And that is how he manages to fall into the water and she dies. And at the end, L finds one of the pages and it looks like he's gonna write Light's name, but that's where the movie ends.
You humans are so interesting.
That was Death Note with a total of 50 kills. Don't forget to comment which series or movies you'd like me to summarize and make a kill count for. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. See you later.
Go to work.
Okay. Bye.